Hello, this is Mayor Ed. I'd like to read you my latest article written on June 12th of this year, 2026. The title is Trump's UFC Octagon White House Lawn Folly. Ultimate fighting, in parentheses, MMA or mixed martial arts, is not a sport like gentlemanly boxing, which allows only punching above the belt with hands in boxing gloves, and automatically stops as soon as a fighter falls to the mat. Ultimate fighting, instead, is gruesome, often drawing blood, with no boxing gloves, with kicks, knees, and elbows used as freely as punches, even against a fallen opponent. It is by no means gentlemanly. It is considered by many to be a dirty sport. It is not an Olympic sport, for now at least, since the Olympics are not for gruesome violence. Rather, they are for civilized, uplifting sports competition enjoyed by all. Arguably, ultimate fighting appeals instead to spectators with little empathy, enjoying or fascinated by gruesome, beastly, vicious, cruel, unchecked violence, and seeing ghastly physical and emotional suffering, which is not normal. It's bordering on voyeuristic sadism, probably linked to having suffered unjust physical or psychological harm or abuse in childhood or adolescence, often by a parent. President Trump's decision to host ultimate fighting on the White House lawn is very debatable and problematic. MMA is not for children or adolescents to see. It would be very disturbing and destabilizing for them to see two human beings being viciously violent against each other, even if consensually in the context of an organized sport. Vicious violence is among the worst things humans can perpetrate. It goes against civility and the spirit of constructive cooperation which humanity needs in order to thrive. It goes against the spirit of preservation of the species. Trump's promotion of such cruel, vicious violence seems deranged, just like his administration's inhumane separating migrant children from their parents, and ICE's unnecessary, seemingly willful violence in enforcing our illegal immigrant regulations. It reflects very badly on the United States' image and reputation, not just abroad, where we are increasingly viewed as a freak show, but also at home. Can psychologically well-adjusted, empathetic, patriotic, humane Americans valuing democracy and human rights not feel distraught, ashamed, and even threatened by the nation's president promoting a violent spectacle so antithetical to a civilized, kind nation, and not feel severely disconcerted when Trump's most fervent supporters are evangelical Christians? Certainly, Jesus is not for violence and cruelty. Jesus would not approve of Trump's hosting MMA at the White House, nor would he approve of separating children from their parents or of unnecessarily cruel treatment of poor migrants. How to explain Trump's support among evangelical Christians? Do they not ask themselves, what would Jesus think? What would Jesus approve? How can they not be critical of any Trump conduct or policy contrary to Jesus' teachings? Are they blind? Or do they simply rationalize away his unchristian ways? President Trump is arguably pursued by internal demons, and his supporters must be similarly affected. Otherwise, they would abandon him and find competent, kind, empathetic politicians abhorring cruelty and capable of uniting the nation with intelligent, just, well-informed, humane policies. Since we have so many mentally disturbed citizens, it would make a lot of sense for all of our high schools to have a 4-year course in psychology accompanied by group therapy and good parenting workshops. We'd have a much more serene, honest, kind, and empathetic society with hardly any addiction or violence. I hope you found this article of mine interesting and persuasive. See you next time.